Hello everyone. Today I'll be presenting an overview to help give a clearer understanding of cartels with a specific focus on organizations of the petroleum exporting countries, also known as OPEC. OPEC plays a major role in the global energy market because its decisions can significantly influence oil supply, pricing, and overall market stability. These changes can often impact far beyond oil industry, affecting transportation costs, inflation, consumer spending, and strategic business planning in many different fields. The purpose of this presentation is really just to explain how cartels function, why OPEC is so important, and how this affects organizations as they operate in an unpredictable market. I will also go over economic strategies, ethical and legal concerns, and future trends that leaders should really be looking for when making business decisions. Okay, so in order to really understand OPEC in this context, it is first important to understand what a cartel is. In economics, a cartel is a group of independent firms or nations that collaborate on and coordinate their decisions in order to lower competition and increase their own profits. Instead of competing freely in the market like any other business, groups or members that are a part of cartels work together on decisions like production levels, market share, or pricing. The main goal of a cartel is to increase its benefits by creating a monopoly of sorts in its field while each member or organization remains its own separate entity. By limiting output, a cartel can raise prices above what they would be in a regular competitive market. This allows them to receive much higher revenue at the expense of consumers and other businesses. However, cartels are difficult to maintain, as members of this cartel may be tempted to break their agreements and produce more in order to earn additional profits for themselves. This balance between following the agreement and self-interest is one of the biggest economic challenges faced by cartels. OPEC is an amazing real-world example of this concept in action. One of the most significant examples of a cartel is the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC, as I mentioned earlier. OPEC was founded in the 1960s by 5 original members, which were Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela. Its creation was driven by a shared interest in gaining greater control over national oil resources and improving bargaining power in the global market. Today, OPEC includes multiple oil-producing nations that collectively hold a large share of the world's crude oil reserves. Because oil remains a critical energy source for transportation, manufacturing, and industrial activities, OPEC's decisions are globally important. The organization's primary goal is to coordinate policies for member countries in order to stabilize the market, secure high returns for producers, and provide reliable oil supplies to consumers. In practice, this means OPEC has the ability to influence global prices and really shape expectations in its field. OPEC operates by coordinating oil production policies between members of the group. Members meet regularly to review market conditions such as global supply, demand, and economic trends. Based on these decisions, they decide whether to raise, maintain, or reduce production levels. Its main tool is the production quota, which limits how much oil members produce. When output is reduced, supply becomes smaller and prices usually rise. When output increases, prices usually go down. While decisions are made as a group, some countries have more influence than others. For example, Saudi Arabia is often seen as a key leader because of its large reserves and ability to quickly adjust production. This coordination of supply is what gives OPEC strong influence in global energy markets. OPEC is very important and has a large impact in the global economy because its decisions can influence oil prices worldwide. Since oil is essential for transportation, manufacturing, and energy production, price changes affect many industries. When oil prices rise, businesses often face higher shipping and operating costs, while consumers pay more for fuel and everyday goods, like we're seeing right now. These higher costs can also contribute to inflation and lower consumer spending. OPEC's decisions also influence long-term investments. Higher prices may encourage growth in renewable energy, efficiency efforts, and alternative fuels. For business, understanding these effects is important for planning costs and strategies. OPEC uses several strategies to manage oil markets and protect member revenues. Its most common strategy is cutting production to reduce supply and support higher prices. It may also increase production to gain market share or respond to shortages. OPEC often works with non-member producers through OPEC Plus to strengthen its market influence. The group also adjusts decisions based on recessions, war, sanctions, and changes in the global demand. Overall, OPEC's strategy is to balance stable prices, member profits, and market stability. Cartels are often criticized because they reduce competition and can lead to higher prices for consumers and businesses. In many industries, private sector cartels are illegal under antitrust laws because they harm market competition. OPEC, however, is a little different because its members are sovereign nations rather than private companies. This creates a more complex legal situation since international organizations are not regulated in the same way as regular businesses are. As a result, OPEC remains a subject of debate over fairness, market power, and political influence in the global market. In 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic sharply reduced global oil demand as travel and business activities heavily decreased. At the same time, disagreements between Saudi Arabia and Russia increased supply. This caused oil prices to collapse around the world. Later, OPEC Plus agreed to major production cuts to help stabilize the market. This case shows how external shocks and failed coordination can create extreme price fluctuations. Looking ahead, OPEC will most likely remain important, but its influence may change in the future as energy markets change and improve. Renewable energy, electric vehicles, and sustainable policies may reduce long-term oil demand, while conflicts and economic uncertainty will continue to create rapid price fluctuations. For businesses, the key lesson is to stay prepared. Companies should use forecasting tools or scenarios to plan and manage changing energy costs. Diversifying energy sources and improving efficiency can also reduce long-term risk. Organizations that remain flexible and informed will be better positioned to navigate this uncertain market. Here's a list of references used to create this presentation.